Hey there, I'm getting ready to put out we just released a December 2025 update video, and I'm getting ready to send out our prayer letter. But one of the things I wanted to do, I wanted to be clear about something. I wanted to just share a testimony about our conference and some of the things that the Lord that He did, because I want to give Him the honor and glory. Some of the challenges that we faced while we were in the midst of the conference. So on Monday night, I was driving up the bus, had all of the folks that were here visiting us for the most part were on that bus, or a lot of them anyway, and it broke, the serpentine belt broke. So I know that's not a huge deal, but the neat part was, and this is hard for me to explain, so I'm kind of putting out another video, is that if that had happened out on the highway, it would have been extremely dangerous, very, very dangerous. It's not as much about somebody, trying to kidnap you or something, as much as it is people here drive on the shoulder. They don't only drive on the main part of the road. So if you have a 2-lane road, that's actually more like 4 lanes, because they drive on the shoulder and they pass each other in the main part of the lane. So if you're parked on the shoulder, it's just a matter of time before you get hit by a car. So the good news was that it did happen in town, and it happened right in front of one of our church members' house. So we were able to park it in front of their house and then leave it there for the night. The other thing that was complicated was that belt was so big for that bus that we couldn't find it anywhere in the whole town that we're in. But the beautiful thing is, the next day, a couple of the men that were visiting the church visiting us from another church, they went and they drove themselves to a nearby city, and they found one of the belts and they purchased it and brought it back, and then they had a mechanic put it on the bus. So it was a huge blessing to have them do that. The other thing was that the guillotine cutter wasn't working. One of our guillotine cutters wasn't working very well. And the reason is because for whatever reason, the computer card in it fried. And what they did was we were able to get a technician to come out and fix it. So that was a blessing as well. The bodega, the warehouse, that we had everybody in there, it didn't have water for a while. That was a challenge. And then I remember this one was interesting. So here I am running around trying to get everything done, everything ready. And here we are on a Monday morning. We're supposed to have devotions before we start work in the warehouse. And the neighbors had decided, whoever had decided, that they were going to demo the building next door. So we're talking, it was chaos. And the way the buildings are built here is they're all out of brick. Sometimes they're just kind of whatever. I mean, this city's 400 years old. So depending on where you're located in the city, you might have a building, and part of that building is really, really old. So the guy who's doing the demoing, and we were getting ready to have devotions. We got a warehouse filled with people, probably 50 people in there. And the guy who's demoing the building next door, he says to me, he says, "Hey, this is very important. If you see the walls of your building start moving like this," he says, "you need to tell me so that we can stop demoing the building." I thought, I have 50 people in here. This is not the time for you to be doing this. But in the end, it all worked out just fine. And then on top of that too, my debit card wasn't working, and that's a long story. But it was just one more challenge that we were facing. One thing as well that was interesting is I was kind of stressed about the fact that the scriptures hadn't shown up, because if you don't have them here, it's very difficult. A large portion of our conference was seed line work, assembling the scriptures. So here we are, and we didn't have them. But here's what's neat. I would have thought that it would have been best for them to show up at the beginning of the week. But it turns out that the truck that they delivered them on could not come to the warehouse. It couldn't drive through there. The streets are so narrow. So what we ended up having to do was meet them outside of town at a place in a parking lot, offload the scriptures into vehicles, and then transport them to the warehouse where we were able to unload them. But the beautiful thing is God's timing is always perfect. It showed up on the Saturday. If it showed up on Monday, it would have been literally me and just a few other people. But the fact that they showed up on Saturday, we'd already had our team here from the United States, and even a few others that had come in early for the conference. and they were able to help us, and it went extremely smooth. So just an encouragement that, the Lord's timing is always perfect. I can get a little stressed about not having the scriptures here, preferring to have them before, but in reality, they came in at perfect timing, right in the middle of the day. We were able to get them all moved, and everything went very well. So even though there were challenges, it was great to see how the Lord's timing is perfect, and everything went well. So we really appreciate that. Anyway, I just wanted to take the time and shoot this video so that I could tell you about what the Lord has done here and so it was just encouraging to see all that he has done.